Damn, Ingenious made the beat. Yo, welcome to another episode of the Coach Life Podcast Radio. Of course, I am your host, the casual one, Coach Steve. Join with me, as always, the dime dropper, Coach Luna. How we doing, bro?
All right, blessed and grateful, dog. Ready to dive into this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got a fun one as usual, sir. A fun one as usual. Join with us as always, most of the time. Should be most of the time if he ain't working 16 other jobs. Coach Wash, the CEO, founder of the Coach Life Podcast Radio and brand about building your brand. How we doing, bro?
How we doing? Good, man. We progressing and
That's
learning
what I like to hear.
lessons.
You know it. Bars on this nice eve right now. What is the topic, fellas? We got a very interesting topic for today. We just talked about the giving season, right? We talked about going and giving and extending yourself. Usually with a new year, you hear new year, new me. This is when we hit the reset button, or we waited until January 1st to hit the reset button. Ladies and gentlemen, our coach's corner for today is new year, new me. Let's dissect this topic a little bit. Coach Wash, you're already shaking your head, bro. We haven't even gotten into anything just yet.
No, we
You
in
already
it.
disagreeing right now.
You already said the title. We already got a problem. We already got a problem.
We do. We have a plethora of problems.
Hey,
right?
We gonna dive into the details. Stop it.
So
Stop it.
Correct. We do have to stop this. You're right.
Yo, it's a fun activity, whether you're doing y'all hanging out and everybody going around the table talking about what's finna change. Yo, hey son, ain't no timeline. Time is relative. It's relative. Stop using the calendar to determine when to move. Because this is what you're really doing. You're setting yourself up to reset. And then the new set is short-lived. The new set ain't even a new set. You starting over again. You didn't even start last year. You finna set the same thing. It's about habits. It's about habits. And that's a continuous thing. So break one habit, move into another layer of life, and continue to break bad habits and build new ones to actually progress towards the goals without looking at the month and what time of year it is. It don't matter. It don't matter. You never gonna get you keep waiting. It's the same thing with the gyms and I work out. We work out. People that work out know. The ones that regularly go to the gym, we are frustrated with you reset button people. And we actually had pods where we talk about the reset button. It's perfectly fine. But all the time, dog, come on. At some point, you need to be set.
Somewhere, right?
Somewhere along the lines, we need to be setting something. You may reset something else, but you can't reset the same thing all the time. I seen you in the gym. You're in the same position you was in last January 1st.
Because again, we haven't made any real progress. Coach Luna, why do you think people are drawn to like the idea of like a fresh start especially with like the beginning of a new year?
Well, I think it just gives people the illusion of thinking that just because the calendar reset, I automatically have given myself a reset, and I've given myself an excuse to reset. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
The problem behind this is it's the psychology that goes into it. Okay. So what ends up happening every time you set all these mini goals, okay,
Mm-hmm.
you're also setting yourself up for many failures. You get what I'm saying? You're trying to do too much and not trying to understand like the stair stepper mentality it takes to go ahead and attack and approach what you're trying to do. What ends up happening 95% of the time, the reason why a lot of these goals end up going to crap is subconsciously you made goals that were unrealistic. And subconsciously, your brain, when you didn't manage to progress in that goal or you didn't hit your goal, your brain does not understand. Your subconscious mind does not understand anything else besides what it is. So when you recognize the failure, you automatically put yourself back to the beginning mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's so hard for people to go ahead and progress with whatever goals that they have set, because it ain't a realistic goal. You know what I'm saying? That there's a big problem with the time people want to choose to go with goals and using the time that it hits your brain of when it dawned upon you that you need to change something, because that is when the call really happens. So that's when the motivation is at its highest, which gives you the opportunity to actually perform at the highest because you have the highest motivation to do it. When you had that chance, you decide to put it on the wayside. And now, fast forward, you're back having the same conversation again.
And we're not even just talking about going to the gym, right? Like I'll wait until
that's one of many examples.
Exactly. There's a
so
plethora of other things that you can put on the January 1st to-do list, right? Like we can go through a plethora of other things that you can line up. I'll sum this up the best way that I can when we talk about the allure of the fresh start and waiting until January 1st. I think a big reason why a lot of people do it is because you don't trust yourself. That's why you push it off all the way to January 1st. I don't trust myself. So I'm going to give myself that much time to build up some kind of trust to say that I can potentially do it. Whatever it may be.
I can see that. I definitely can see that. You know, and then it's also a fear of failure. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
It's a fear of like, all right, when I set this, am I actually gonna follow through? And if I don't follow through, am I gonna be okay with the results? And it goes back to what we just said, like the psychology behind it. Like a lot of people do not understand how to set goals.
All right. Well, let's take it to the professional and the educational realm here. This thing called SMART goals. People, let's revisit that. S, be specific. Be specific. M, make sure it's measurable. Now we have some data to go back, look at, and actually have a real reason to reset or adjust, not start all the way over, right? Next is your A, achievable. Something that's realistic. All right. I jumped to the R, realistic, achievable, and realistic. And T, timely. All right. Timely means
January 1st.
Right. That's what it's been meaning for you. And we got to get out of that cycle. You know what I'm saying? But timely means you need to have, when you set mini goals, it's just like project management. We have a major goal and then you have benchmarks up into that goal, right? And that's what it means to be measurable, achievable, realistic, you need to have benchmarks to get there. All right. Don't be looking for the whole thing just magically out of nowhere, but you need to actually write things down. You don't need to be in school to write things down. I think a lot of adults don't think about this. Like, the power of actually writing is greater than a lot of people understand.
Can you in the back, the ones in the back?
You have to write things down. Man, I got so many journals, notebooks, like my phone, like I'm not just browsing, like the notepad
Like, we use
app
that
in my phone is loaded. It's loaded. I revisit that. Like, I'm in there at night during the day. I got my notebook next to me, like, write this stuff down and revisit it, like have it open. I give you a prime example. If I got a goal in the sales where I'm like, yo, I need to make X amount of dollars. This is my plan. This is how much I get paid. This is what I need to shoot for. I'm keeping a tally on a daily basis. Aside from I need to be here by the end of the month, I've broken it down to the day. I've broken the day down to the hour. I need to hit this each hour. And if I didn't hit it, I need to make up for it the remaining hours this way. I'm constantly adjusting, and it's realistic. It's achievable. I've broken down into smaller things where I'm not overwhelmed. That's another thing. People get overwhelmed by the goal because if you don't properly plan to hit the goal, you're going to be overwhelmed, regardless of what it may be.
So let's expound on that, because we talked about setting goals, right? Which, again, sounds like a precursor. I just throw that out there. Unrealistic expectations. We set massive goals of what we want without knowing what it takes to build the goal. You want to build a house, right? I want to build a house. I have a plot of land, and I have a hammer, and I got some nails. I'm going to build a house. Good luck. Good luck.
Good luck.
You'd be lucky you'd be lucky to have a good dog house.
Exactly. Exactly. Good luck. It takes a lot of planning and a lot of preparation to get to the point of building a house. In today's market, like right now, like if you wanted to go, like if you had to go build a house right now, like what is it going to take for you to do something like that right now?
Some people that know what they're doing, first off.
First and foremost, right?
And,
you need
and
experience.
that costs money. Experience costs money, whether you get it yourself or you get somebody that got it.
Absolutely.
Right? So now we have financial goals.
Exactly.
Right.
There's a lot, right? It's going to take a lot to get to the ultimate goal that you need to get to. So ultimately, when Coach Wash just said choosing your SMART goals, setting your SMART goals, again, look at the goals that you can easily, and I don't want to say like the shooting a fish in a barrel goals, right? The easy goals, right? You kind of need a lot of these, because if you can stack a lot of these, you start to get some motivation. You start to build some consistency. You start to build some dedication to your main goal that you really want to get to.
Good habits.
Well, it's a way to keep yourself accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like, so my goal, I can be transparent because this is what we do. At the beginning of January of this year, bro, I was 207, which was the heaviest I ever been in my life, bro. And there was one of these moments. It wasn't January 1st. This is when we just had got back from our honeymoon. It was like mid to late January. And I was on the couch, bro. We just got back, and then Bria kind of got on me about like, go do something. She ain't say it like that, But that's the way it hit me like.
That's how I got you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't how you said it, it's how it hit me. You know what I'm saying? How I processed it. And when I processed it, bro, I was like, hold on. Like, you new to this working out stuff. Like, I worked out my whole life. But at that same time, that was that pride that I had to check myself with and be like, yeah, you ain't who you were 10 years ago, 9 years ago, as far as where you were in shape physically and mentally and all that stuff. So then I put it upon myself little by little, day by day. And then just exactly how you said it, start stacking. I did not go to the gym every single day. I wasn't working out doing 16 lifts in one setting. I did literally the first lift, first time, I'm over there like a baby. I'm an infant. I'm putting on baby weight and I'm just getting my body back used to the movements. And then eventually everything start feeling better. Boom, you start doing more and more. And the beauty of it, and I've shared this with y'all, the beauty of the whole thing that when I started doing this, losing all this weight, which I finally had reached my goal like 2 months ago, which was anywhere between the 180, 185 range. So I'm there. Yay. Cool. I got other goals I want to hit now next year. I've already started. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've already started that already. But then my goals in 2024 that, oh my God, I'm starting in 2023. Unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? Saying like, so again, the thing that helped me, like, as I started getting better in that area, I started seeing other areas that I needed to go ahead and work on, which was, it popped in my head. Start reading again. So what did I decide to do? Try to get one book in a month. It's not very hard when you go ahead and put the time in for it. And you'd be surprised how much time you have to do a lot of these things if you actually just put it as a priority. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it a damn priority to make sure you go ahead and read for 30 minutes, read for an hour, whatever it is. Day by day, it's going to add up. And then by the time you know it, it's going to close. I finished a 350-page book that was in February about freaking 1491. The Americas Before Columbus. We'll talk that about another time. But
yeah, you told me.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's you'll be surprised how much you can actually read if you put in the actual time. And again, they stack. The days stack. It compounds. You know, compounded interest. You know, talk about finance. We'll talk about that in another part. But it's that same thing. It's a mental thing of stacking those days, stacking those days, stacking those days, stacking those days. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to start somewhere.
Intentional. I mean, I'm gonna keep coming back to that word. I keep using it a lot, but with everything, you do have to be intentional. I remember when I was working towards being a vegetarian, and I would do these fasts like periodically. I didn't try to drop meat all at once, cold turkey. I would go like a month. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I can attest, bro. This was rough for him. This was rough for him, bro. I can attest. And I didn't make it no better because I was walking around with Portillo's and home run in.
Look, man, go like a month, no meat, and come back around, it don't sit with you the same. You know what I'm saying? Now you can do this the right way. Now, being intentional, I was doing this for health reasons. Now you can definitely snack and not consume any type of you know, any flesh at all. But I was intentional about greens, vegetables, my fruits, things I was consuming. I was looking up different recipes and actually finding a ton of stuff that I enjoyed that did not involve any type of animal byproduct. And I would occasionally do, I come back, I eat something. First thing I stopped completely eating was pork. Everything happened one by one. You know, the next thing that happened down the road, many months later, without putting an actual date on it, I just kept periodically doing these small breaks from flesh. And it started becoming, my body wasn't receiving it the same. And then I started finding that I was enjoying or feeling better, and I was enjoying the food that I was consuming. I was feeling better without it. And Eventually I got to the point where like over a year's time, I was a vegetarian. You know, I was a vegetarian for about 5 years before I started eating fish again. Now I eat fish and meat again, you know, here and there. I'm not all the way back in it, but it's, you know, it's further in between, you know what I'm saying? But I was very intentional with that process. You know, how I went about it, I did it, it was realistic. Because I had been eating like this for 30 years of my life. It was gonna take a process.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Another thing Luna said that I want to talk about in a different area and talk about transparency, because I don't want to be on here talking aggressively and act like we don't go through these reset moments. It may not be in the form of a New Year's resolution, but I definitely am guilty of like circling back around into bad habits. You know what I'm saying? But keeping track and keeping data goes a long way. It'll reduce how much time you actually fall back into the bad habit. If you have something that you constantly revisit, you can check yourself faster, even if you see yourself trying to, you know, go back into it. I give you a prime example. Like this past year, definitely some plays like financially I was trying to make. I had some good goals. I was hitting my targets up to a certain point, hit a wall because some things outside of my control. But then when I look back at earlier parts of the year, there was some things that I could have did differently based on knowledge I already had that would have set me up a little bit better down the road for things I wanted to do. So now I fall into a reset period, but now it's more so of a readjustment because now I'm like, all right, I see everything. So once I get back to this spot and I know how to get there now because I put in the work to get to where I got, you know what I'm saying? When they talk about these layers and getting past bad habits, it's a lot easier to get back to the higher level. Matter of fact, back to the video game, bro. That example Coach Steve gave in one of the earlier pods. We talked about playing video games. And back in the day, you didn't have memory on the video games. You literally had to start all the way over when game was over. But you learned everything level by level. And as you replayed that game, you start flying through levels and you would get back to level 10 way faster than you did when you first got that initially. And that's pretty much what life is. When you keep track, keep data, and measure everything, you can get back to that higher level faster, even if you do have to reset. But if you don't have a proper plan and you're not tracking, you're not writing down, it's going to be slow motion every time. But
100%, man. 100%. 100%. Again, you just gave us one of the next topics that we do have to talk about is this memory card mentality with kids nowadays, where they have the memory card mentality, where it's got to be the instant gratification, the right nows. But when we talk again, I want to kind of go back to that unrealistic expectation mentality, because when we set these goals, like we talked about before, Coach Luna, give me a idea of a goal that is too unrealistic that a typical person would set.
I'm going to lose 20 pounds this month.
boom, that's the best example you can give. You hear some crazy stuff like that all the time. Like
exactly. I'm
unless
glad you chose this one.
Unless it's a practice of yours.
Unless you on the my 1,500 pound life, you know what I'm saying? That's probably realistic. But for you to lose 20 pounds in 1 month, chances are you're not burning into anything that needs to be burned into. You're just losing hella water weight. And you're probably going into dehydration. So you probably need to go ahead and slow down. Science and statistics show that you should not lose more than 2 pounds a week, realistically, before you go ahead and you start cutting into, you know, where you're actually losing muscle and losing things like that as well. You know what I'm saying? The biggest common misconception that people have, bro, is this whole idea that if I'm going to lose weight, I'm just going to run. Listen, you only lose weight. Okay. I want everybody to pay attention. Hear me. You only lose weight when your caloric intake is less than what you go ahead and put out. Meaning, this little watch right here that everybody wears is your accountability buddy. If that little red circle and them red numbers got a number on there, like mine say 993. If I consume more than 993 calories today, did I lose weight today? No, that's not how it works. You know, you get what I'm saying?
Talk to him.
You got to have this thing right here is a great tool for you to use if you are trying to get into this journey of weightlifting, exercising, all that. First off, understand what it's trying to tell you. If you're using it only for a gadget that has your face on there and all this other crap, first off, you got too much love for yourself in there, but we're not going to talk about that. But this is a great tool that you can use. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is an actual tool that can hold you accountable for what you want to do. Coach Davis, shout out Coach Davis. Good luck this weekend in the state championship. Coach Davis, Coach Wash, you and we used to work with. He used to get on my ass all the time by making sure I close all 3 of my rings all the time. There's a coach that I work with right now. He probably will text me in a little bit. Hey, what's your steps in? How many miles you got in today? What's your calorie count? You know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that, bro. It's just like cool little. I had one of my homeboys text me today, and with a screenshot of my workout. He texted me. He was like, "Early morning grind, huh?" I'm like, "Yes, sir." You know what I'm saying? Little things like that, bro. You got to follow on each other, bro, and it becomes a friendly competition. But at the same time, it's fun. And now you got other people watching and seeing it, and then what it ends up doing is just like shit. It pushes me to go even further. You know what I'm saying?
So what you're saying is, Coach, instead of saying I want to lose 20 pounds, say I need to pony up $200-$300 for an iWatch so I can have an accountability buddy.
Right, no. If you want to lose weight, okay, and we're gonna have another conversation for this another time. But it baffles me when people do not want to get on the scale. How are you going to know the data of what you're doing if you're not keeping track? Bree would tell you all the time. She used to get on my ass all the time because she used to hate. I would leave my scale out every day. I'm checking myself in the morning. I'm checking myself as soon as I get back because I know if I left this morning and I weigh more than I got back and I worked out all day, that means I ate too damn much. You get what I'm saying? Now, I'm not about to deprive myself of food. If I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. You know what I'm saying? But it's also knowing what foods I need to be putting in my body as well. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Dog, Chiefs game, hot chocolate. How many calories you think is in a hot chocolate, bro?
Probably 400.
No, sir.
No?
1,260 was in this hot chocolate in Kansas City. Bro, I looked at that and I said, no way.
What size did you have, sir?
No, I swear to you, the cup was this big, bro. That hoe said 1,260 for $10.
Man,
Jesus.
Oh, no. Nah, and it cost $10. It's all bad. I dropped 10 pieces.
1,260 calories worth of sugar, bro.
You took in the whole day.
Ouch. Right.
You just killed that example you just gave us. You say you got 900 and something on this watch. He drunk
that. Ain't a day, bro.
He drunk
a whole week of sugar, bro.
He drunk that all them steps he worked to get for the whole day, gone in one cup.
Yeah, you probably needed it. Was it cold out for that game?
Yeah, it was. But it goes back to what Coach Wiles was saying, man. You have to keep a way of measuring yourself, of measuring what you do. You know what I'm saying? It's impossible to track where you're at if you're making progress on it, if you're not keeping record. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, there's nothing that you can do attaining any type of goals if you're not keeping track of what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not how it works. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta write
So
it down, man.
let's make the connection here. So writing it down sounds like to me there's a lack of planning and strategizing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lack of planning, a lack of strategizing, and a whole lot of fear. A ton of fear. Addressing the problem. Right now we kind of focus on fitness. Well, I'm gonna take it to other areas of life that you see some common fears in areas that people need to fix. So people don't want to get on the scale. People don't want to measure. That's a big thing for me too, as far as like fitness. I like to measure too. A lot of people don't want to see them numbers, but at some point you got to face the problem dead on. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to look in that mirror and you're gonna have to eat that. You're gonna have to take that L to get to the W. You know what I'm saying? And then let me talk about it for I'm gonna press some buttons. We're gonna talk about financially because we talked about this when we had Rack on the pod, and he gave an example, talk about y'all squad and y'all team. He's like, yo, what y'all credit score is looking like? Ooh, some people they don't want to hit
Why?
that check score button. You know what I'm saying? But you already know what time it is. You know,
You know what time it is when all the phone calls you got.
yo, the phone calls, like you know it's not a pretty situation, but you gotta go ahead and hit it dead on to start somewhere. You can't get anywhere without seeing what you need to fix.
Let me before we go any further, let me first and foremost let everybody know that the way and passion in which we speak about all this stuff does not negate us from the fact that we don't have the same issues and problems and hurdles, just like Coach Wash said
Where the
earlier.
passion come from.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Because
That's where it come from. We've been through it. We go
Yeah.
through it. So I'm saying we sharing our corrections. That's what coaching is about, right? We
100%.
played the game before, and now we giving you game. Some of
100%.
So that
us,
you can go out there and perform better
hey,
than we did. So
exactly. And
you
some
can
of us
avoid all
players, coaches, we still playing the game while we giving you the game as we
True
go.
enough. True enough. So why do you think there's a lack of planning and strategy when it comes to like successfully achieving like any personal goal?
You go first.
It requires effort. It requires effort and it requires research.
Does it
So
now?
it goes back to intention. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the approaches that I went ahead and started taking for myself, whether it was fitness, whether it was financial, it was things that I researched and things that I felt comfortable and things that I went ahead and said, okay, I can do this. But what it also gave me was variety.
Mm.
Gave me opportunities to look at things from this
Different
person's
angles.
point of view, this person's point of view, this person's point of view. So therefore, I can look at each plate and see, all right, well, that one works for me. Oh, a little bit of that works for me too. Oh, that one definitely works for me. Or that one doesn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? You give yourself lanes to go into. You know what I'm saying? Like if it's fitness, you ain't gotta go do that damn hit workouts, and you ain't gotta go ahead and do 60 power cleans and do 100 jumping jacks and then 50 freaking pull-ups. You ain't gotta do all that.
That's ego though, bro. Like
It's
I'm
definitely
walking in
ego.
the gym and I'm watching another dude that looks my size or bigger than me, and he's benching, bro. And I'm over here with maybe 135.
Man, your journey is your journey. That
Exactly.
man's
Talk to him.
journey is his journey.
Talk to him.
And what
That's the key,
he
man.
may be better in that gym area, but may be completely lacking in another area of life which you're flourishing. You know,
Yep.
comparison is the thief and the robber of all joy.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I once I heard that quote, bro, it stuck with me forever, bro. I don't give a damn about what's on another man's plate.
And that's
I
why
don't
social
care.
media is so bad.
No, because I don't know what's behind those closed doors. I don't know what's behind that store. There could be all types of things that this man going through. Why would I go through or have any type of envious thoughts, feelings, or anything like that when I don't even know this man's story. I'm looking at a carbon copy of what the best version of this person's making himself out to be at this moment.
But
I don't know.
But Coach Luna, I don't want to be judged.
Hey man, such
Cry
is
about
life.
it. Cry about it in the locker room.
Such is life, man. Cry in the shower, bro.
Yeah,
Cry in the
yeah.
shower.
You know, I got another reason why, other than what Coach Luna said. These lazy ass parents raising these lazy ass kids.
Link in the bio.
Check the previous coach's corner.
There you go.
But it's taught, right?
Is it learned behavior?
It's learned behavior. Look, my mom's was in town. My lady's watching her operate. She sees me. Oh, that's why he clean. That's why he cooked. That's why he. But that was ingrained in me. It wasn't just watched. It was taught. It was enforced. Go clean your room. Go make your bed. Hey, even the common areas, I didn't have to mess it up to have to clean it. This is community property. Y'all use it. Pitch in. Go clean that bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Now it's second nature. I don't want to see nothing messy. It actually disturbs me. I can't be around messy people. We lived together before, Coach Steve. We operate the same. We cut from the same cloth.
Wow, bust your head if your broom look crazy.
So on the flip side, you may have to unlearn behavior because the behavior that you may have learned is what's hindering you now.
True. That's what I talk about, breaking bad habits.
You got to break those bad habits.
Yeah.
And the first thing you have to be able to do is identify that you have a bad habit. You know what I'm saying? If 15 people tell you have a bad habit and you're the only one defending you, and these 15 people you kind of hold dear, true, call friends or whatever, they're all telling you about one thing about you that you have yet to fix. At what point do you feel like, okay, now I'm gonna do it? You know what I'm saying? Time isn't promised to any of us. You know what I'm saying? Tomorrow isn't promised. And, you know, I've gotten to this mind state and mindset, whatever, however you want to go ahead and put it, because I've lost so much and because I've felt so much that I don't take anything that anyone tells me for granted. I go ahead and try to assess where I'm at, that retrospect that we talk about, so that I can go ahead and identify whatever the habit problem that person is holding up the mirror to me to tell me about. So then therefore I can go ahead and see and assess. Therefore I can go ahead and work on what I need to work on. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people just randomly walk up all the time and be like, hey, you're a piece of shit. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you're rude as hell. You know what I'm saying? I don't think people just walk up to random people like that all day unless there's a precursor of something that led to that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think just people just wake up today like, hey, I'm going to call this person this today. Like, I think everything happens for a reason.
True. I want to also I want to add to that because you said that there, again, are people that you may hold dear. That may 15 people that you may hold dear say the same things about you, right? What if it's nobody? What if it's somebody that you don't really know? Maybe it's somebody that just made a quick observation.
I ain't gonna lie. Those always hit me a little bit different because you're hitting me with something that I've heard before and you've only observed me for a short amount of time. And you were able to assess that same conclusion with way less time than the other
and
people.
information.
You don't know nothing about me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm transparency. That's why I love this pod. I remember back in 2010, bro. I went to a church service at Texas State, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this dude who was the drummer walked up to me, and he came up to me, and he just came up to me. He was like, "Man, God's telling me He wants me to tell you something about letting go of the anger that you had for your dad." Man, bro, I was like, "What? Like, hold on, bro.
That ain't God.
Like, what is you talking about? I don't even know you, bro. Like, what do you know about my relationship with my dad?" He was like, "Yeah, God's just telling me, you gotta let it go. You know what I'm saying? Let the anger that you have towards him." Like, bro, when I tell you, bro, I broke down and cried right then and there, bro, because again, this man didn't know me from nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he just came up to me and revealed one of the deepest, at that time, one of the deepest issues I was dealing with in my life, bro. I was like, man, if that ain't God, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
It's 100% God.
Yeah.
Whether you want to believe it or not, whether you believe in a higher power or not, there is that divine intervention there,
Man.
is what told him to tell you that.
And that's why I believe when a stranger says something, someone that barely has observed you, it's coming from a way bigger spot, because believe it or not, those that we are closest to and love sometimes don't challenge us the way they need to, because they don't want to hurt our feelings. So they go ahead and just let us do what we do, not understanding that we're also in a time where we're crying out for help. And nobody's actually just helping us because y'all love us. And at the same time, love doesn't always want to hurt feelings, because accountability doesn't feel good.
Two things, bro. You said a lot there, but I'm just going to give them two things from that. One, we just talked about in previous pods, the support versus challenge group. If you really, truly, my friend, if you really, truly care about me, if you really, truly love me, you are not going to leave me in the same position, especially if you know my potential to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So if some random person comes and tells you something about yourself that you have heard from people that you quote unquote care about, that actually want you to change, you probably should listen to that. There probably has some merit behind that. There probably has some truth behind that.
And it's coming from a place you don't know where it's coming from, or you're not familiar with the place where it's coming from, which is another topic for another day.
And that's just acceptance. This is flat out acceptance. Man, all these precursors we dropping right now. I'll tell you, dude, we got the best name for you, bro. You just dropping dimes all over the damn place. Close the damn purse up, Luna.
Man.
So let's talk real quick. A couple of quick topics that we want to kind of pressure and comparison. We kind of touched on that again. You got social media out there. So you got a lot of people that they'll get on. Perfect example. We'll use the pod as a perfect example. I was reading this article, and in the article, it said, if you can get past 3 episodes, you have something. It ain't mean that you had a whole bunch of people listening to your pod. The consistency that it takes to put the pod together. You guys know. You know how much work it takes to put all this together and make this all happen. So the consistency behind it and what's needed to do it, right? When we talk about like that external pressure and everything, one of the biggest reasons, and again, we talk about transparency, so I'll be transparent with you. One of the biggest reasons why I hesitated at one point in time to do this pod is because when you see all these other podcasts, what's the first thing that you see is the comments. Notice I keep asking for comments. Why? Because my fear is the comments. Why? Because I don't want to have that negativity bring down the positivity that we're trying to bring to everybody, right? So that fear stopped me for a minute. But what am I doing by not doing the pod, by not progressing forward? Failing. I'm failing you guys. I'm failing myself. I'm failing the fans that actually get something out of this. I'm failing. So those external pressures and comparisons are real, are super real. So how do you guys feel like fear, that judgment, the comparison, how do you feel like that's hindered progress and contributes to procrastination just as a whole?
I think well, fear is natural for most people. You know, I even got a tattoo on my arm, you know, say fearless. Is anyone truly fearless without being on a very high level of psychotic? No. No. The realistic thing with handling fear is being brave or courageous. That's facing your fears, right? Acting in the face of fear, still moving, although the fear is there. And I think most people struggle to get to that point, you know. And it does not help with like social media and all these examples of what appears to be the end goal. Kind of like, you know, what Luna said, you know, we see one thing in the gym, but we don't know the whole story. You know what I'm saying? I even keep it basic to like the size of, you know, somebody you see in the gym and what they're doing in comparison to where you're at.
Right.
Sometimes they might not even be doing things correctly, or they may be on a bunch of creatine. The biggest guy may not even be the strongest guy. So you looking at people that are not even good examples of where you want to be, aside from the other baggage that may be behind that. But I think people just need to learn to be you can't really learn to be brave or courageous. You just have to do and make that a habit. Let's get back to establishing habits. You have to make it a habit to step out.
Take the step.
Take the step. Be okay with the failure that may come with it, because you'll never see the success that may come with it neither.
100%.
Look at it that way. And I think another thing that hinders people is that seeing end results, or what appears to be end results, all the time in this microwave time that we're in. It can easily slow you down in the frustration once you hit those roadblocks and obstacles in your, you know, your progress stages, you know, while you're going through it. It's easy to hit a roadblock and then look back at these examples of what appear to be success and give up. Once again, you have to step out and just keep moving forward. And I think that's, simply put, the best thing that you can do is just get in the habit of continuing to move forward and not be distracted by Arnold Schwarzenegger in the corner over here on the squat rack. And, you know, that reset button really should just be a matter of, I don't even want to call it a reset no more. The more we talk about it, readjust, or just adjust, adjust and move forward. You know what I'm saying? We always used to say in the coaching world, be fluid, adapt to your environment.
I think fear just comes from a place of unknowing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's it.
If the more, and that's why I encourage, like, learn. You know what I'm saying? Get variety in your life. Like, whatever the area it is that you're trying to be better in, how are you going to get better if you're not learning about it? You know what I'm saying? You're attacking the same problem with the same freaking approach every single time.
Insanity.
It's not going to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that goal is still the same goal, and you're approaching it the exact same way you did before, expecting different results. I'm not crazy. What is the definition of doing something and thinking
Insanity.
Not linsanity, insanity. You know what I'm saying?
Insanity.
Insane. You know what I'm saying? It's I wouldn't say it's dumb. I don't like using that word, but it's hindering. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you're hindering yourself because you've constantly put yourself in the same exact hole that you've been trying to dig yourself out of, and you're doing it to yourself because you're not willing to go ahead and just do something a little bit different as far as your approach, learning different things to do it. Do not have to do it one way. Don't have to do it that way. You can do it another way. Read, research, study. You know what I'm saying? Majority of the people that I know and majority of people that listen to this podcast, some of y'all got bachelor's degrees, some of y'all got masters, some of y'all got doctorates. You know how to learn. You just chose to stop learning when you became an adult because of whatever other things that you may have consumed yourself with. And you're wondering why you're still in these same spots, not achieving these goals. And again, none of us are talking like we're the end all be all. We know exactly what's going on. But we've failed multiple times trying to do it those ways. I've been trying to shed this weight since 2014 when I put all this weight on. And in 1 year, I was able to do it. Now, my challenge for me is what I'm going to do from here on out. I checked the box. So what's next? But that should be the goal for everybody.
Absolutely.
You check that box. Hey, congratulations. Pat on the back. Hey,
what's
it
next?
Ain't over. It ain't over.
I think we said this before. New level, new devil.
Every time. The next level always the harder level.
Exactly. That's the whole point of the game, right?
And you got to learn how to beat that devil.
Mm-hmm.
And you may have to keep trying because in most cases, you're not going to beat them on the first try.
I may mess up in the first 10 seconds of that level. But guess what? I know what's coming at that 10-second mark. I know what not 100%. To do. And if that failed, all right, the next one. Until I find out how I get past this 10-second point.
Yeah.
Let's another thing I want to, I'm gonna let you go with your thought, Coach Steve. I just want to always kind of come to a different perspective to connect with different people.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about the new level and the new devil, and we want to talk about stepping out and failing, all the people that y'all are watching on television, on social media that are truly successful have way more L's than you do. You're in the hole mostly because you won't step out. Not because you losing, because you're not starting. It's not because you losing, it's because you're not starting.
You're playing Monopoly, you ain't even roll a dice yet.
Look, most people the people that talk with passion and that's giving you game, kind of like we doing, and then like even like some mentors that I come across, they're the most passionate because they've taken the most and the worst of the L's. And even with that, they go right back into the game. Right back into the game. All these millionaires, everybody reference Donald Trump. He didn't file for bankruptcy XYZ amount of times. Every millionaire, billionaire has done that. He not special.
Nope.
They keep trying, but you know what? We got a homie, me and Steve. I'm like, yo, he said, I got somebody in my circle, millionaire. Say, yo, if you lost all your bread today, how fast can you get a meal again? He said, quickly, like in a month.
Yep. Immediately. No hesitation.
No hesitation. He's like a month.
About a month.
I can go flat broke, bankrupt.
And get a meal in a month.
He got the game. He got the game. You know how many L's that man took to get that first bag? Now, what we talk about levels. Now, he's flying through level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 because he done done it so many times. But your biggest problem is that you don't start.
We need to press the start button for the game.
Don't be out here talking about you losing and you ain't did nothing. You're not losing. You just not doing nothing. There's a difference. A loser plays. That's the only way you lose. A loser plays.
Facts.
You ain't even go to tryouts. Learn the difference.
Feel like we should. I was gonna say, we feel like we should end the pod after that. Let's go to breaking the cycle. Again, this is not the pod to be trying to answer all the questions of all the issues that we just talked about right now, right? Mm-hmm. We have an episode built for that. That's coming. But we do need to acknowledge the breaking of this cycle of procrastination. How do we break the cycle outside of setting our SMART goals, making sure that we're being not totally being immersed in the initial motivation to do what we need to do? How do we break that cycle? Not just with a January 1st thing, with just anything. How do we start people to start?
My boy Ray Lou used to always say this: be pissed off for greatness. Be pissed off for greatness.
Church.
Be pissed off at the fact that you are procrastinating, and be pissed off that you're doing it to yourself. Be pissed off at you. So that way you can start giving yourself those nuggets of things that you could be happy for, that you can go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back. Because clearly you've beaten yourself up plenty of times. So give yourself a nugget to go over, be able to go get, to knock down the barriers that you've placed upon yourself so that you can get closer to your core of who you actually are, because your core is the thing that's screaming at you to tell you, hey, fix this, fix this, fix this. The more and more you place those barriers, the harder it is for you to hear it and the harder it is for you to pursue it. Get rid of those barriers. Give yourself those little nuggets, brick by brick, brick by brick. But this is the opposite of brick by brick. Break the brick down, brick by brick. You get what I'm saying? You got to go ahead. This house has already been built, but this house that you need that is built is holding you in there. And you need to break this house down, brick by brick. And it takes a little hit by hit, hammer by hammer, bang, bang. And eventually, that little hole gets bigger, bigger, and eventually this thing collapses. And now you've gotten rid of that callus that's been holding you hostage for Lord knows how long.
In that, Coach Luna, you also need to also be aware that you're going to be exposed now.
Oh, yeah.
And that should be okay.
Let them smell it.
You
gotta understand you're gonna be exposed now because you're breaking this house down. So now you're gonna see all of the breaks. You're gonna see all of the issues. You're gonna see all of the foundation faults. You're gonna see all of the bad stuff. It's okay.
Yes. You said precursors, right? You precursing to self-love. That's a whole nother pod.
100%.
But what you just said, you have to be so, not in a bad way, not like conceited or arrogant, in a negative way, but you have to have a level of self-love where I've told this to multiple people before, like, and I don't have a lot of people that I know of, at least, that I got a problem with to this degree, but I've had to tell somebody before, like, you can't embarrass me because I don't give a damn about what other people think more than I think about myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can do whatever you want. Like, if you ain't in my circle,
don't matter.
It don't matter. Because I know how to deal with me, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'm completely accepting of it. And I'm always working on it. I'm self-conscious. I'm constantly working on it. And I wish more people can get to that level to where you have no problem breaking this house down. And that's the last thing on your mind. The goal is breaking the house down without the concern of being exposed. Because at the end of the day, it's for you. It's for you and nobody else.
100%, man.
You're your worst critic and also your biggest fan.
That's right. That's right. Man, when I play sports, I talk about this all the time. Like, we talk about this as coaches too. Those athletes you don't have to say anything to.
Yeah.
You know them and they know themselves. They mess up, you just give a look. They kind of give you a nod. Yep. They already know, and you know they know. Yep. That's them the ones, like, I don't need to say it. Like, that's like the ultimate self-motivation. Exactly what Luna said. Worst critic and biggest fan. I'm the shit. Oh, dang. I dropped the ball right there.
It's the same in the office. It's the same in the office. It's those employees that I don't have to say a word to this person. They got it. I don't have to say a word. I got a ton of dispatchers right now that I don't have to say a word. I can just hit them up and say, hey, this is looking like this. It needs to look like this. And it magically done. I don't got to say another word to them about anything else. Everything else is taken care of. Then you have those others that are in their way, that don't know how to get out of their way, that's still stuck in this house, that's holding them back right now because they're stubborn. Not just dispatchers, I'm talking about like people in general.
Yeah.
All my dispatchers that are listening, getting all mad at me and everything. Like, oh, you talking about me?
Nah, man, we heard your last pod. We quit.
Exactly, right.
Whole team go.
Whole team go, right. Coach Luna, outside of setting goals, which obviously is probably like the most effective and efficient way to get someone from point A to point B, right? What are some other approaches that people can take to help promote that long-lasting change for themselves?
Again, there's a lot of the things that we already touched up on. It has to be something that you you can actually get to. We said attainable. It's okay for your first goal to be something so freaking simple. Like,
I think we need to describe that. We're talking simple, right?
So if, for example, if your goal is to try to read a book, mine was a book in a month, right? Yours can be 1 in 2 months, 6 in a year.
How about you read a sentence a night?
A sentence, thank you. A sentence a night. Then eventually, oh, that was easy. A page, 2 pages. Then before you know it, here's a chapter, 2 chapters. But give yourself that. Give yourself the grace of time to get yourself going. Now, not every single area can you just beat. Now, do not let this just be a precursor of, okay, well, I'm going to just take it slow all year. No. You don't read that one sentence one time per night for 365 days. That's not what we're trying to preach. You have to go ahead and progress. Once you've already said, okay, that was easy. All right, well, the next one needs to be harder. You know what I'm saying? If that workout was too easy, well, then guess what? Make it harder. Add more reps. Add more sets. Take some rest time down. There's so many different variations of how you can approach whatever it is that you accomplish. But you have to do it. And it has to be intentional, and it has to be something that you're going to be pissed off at yourself about if you do not do it. If you do not get pissed off about it and you don't feel angry about whatever it is that you may have not accomplished for that day, it doesn't mean that much to you. And you're not serious about it because you don't feel heated about it. So that's the area you need to fix, is how passionate you truly are about whatever goal that you are setting. And do you really want to do it? Because everything that we talked about before all this was how to do it, the what to do's and what to look for. But your approach and the consequences you give to yourself, all that plays a part in it. Because if you're not pissed off about your lack of doing it, and you're not sharing it with anybody, so who's gonna hold you accountable besides you? The watch Siri ain't gonna be like, hey, get your ass up and go do something.
That would be pretty dope.
Siri only responds to the actions that I tell her to tell me. You know what I'm saying? She ain't gonna tell me. That inner me is the one that's telling me, hey, get your ass up. But like I said, that house is built up so much, it's a freaking Pablo Escobar mansion at this point for a lot of us. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, bro, you ain't getting in.
You ain't getting in.
You ain't getting in.
Damn, doomsday bunker.
You know what I'm saying?
True enough. True enough. Well, before we close out, Coach Wash, closing remarks.
Man, I already got passionate on this, but
I know, bro. Don't go any further, bro.
I would just say, and we're gonna dive into solutions, but check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? Start. That's number one. Actually start before we even start talking about consistency. Because once again, you can't lose if you don't play. Actually show up to tryouts, make your team, and play the game.
Oh, wait, I love that. Say that again. Show up for tryouts.
Show up for tryouts.
And make your team.
Make your team and play the game.
I do want to ask that question to everybody out there that's listening. And I this kind of goes back to what we talked about in the very beginning of the pod, where I was talking about trusting yourself, right? If you had to pick somebody to do something really important, would you choose yourself? Would you be the first person to come to mind? Or would you be like, oh yeah, so-and-so? Like, think about that.
Include yourself in the equation.
Exactly. Like, would you say, like, I need this X thing done? Would you choose yourself? Or would you think of somebody else immediately? Like, that'll be a great job for so-and-so. That says a lot about you if you don't know how to choose yourself first. If you don't have that kind of confidence in yourself to progress things forward. So,
hey, there's a me and team. Yeah.
There is a me and team.
Yeah.
There is a me and team. True enough. True enough. You got to take care of me first so that you can take care of team.
Exactly.
So, that again, precursors, bro. Precursors. Talking about all these extra pods right now. Sounding like Luna right now. Zip the purse up, bro. Stop it. Stop it. All right, guys. Again, if you like what you heard, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. If you're on YouTube, hit us up on Spotify. Go ahead and hit that poll every once in a while. I think we got a poll up. Yep, I think we got a poll up for this one. So that being said, fellas, if you like what you heard, want to hear more back from the Coach Life Podcast radio family, tune back in next time we start talking about solutions to the new year, new me topic with a guest host joining us on the pod. Again, stay positive, my friends.